There's nothing you're going to do to intimidate us on this topic. I'm warning you right now. You picked the wrong fight. Washington Examiner, great article by Corey DeAngelis, who I suggest you follow on Twitter. He does some really terrific work on the civil rights issue of our time, school choice. There are two Americas for Black America. And you know who's creating those two Americas? Liberals who don't want Black children to get the education a lot of white children get in this country. So he has a piece in the Washington Examiner. Please look it up in the show notes and read it. Please. Bongino.com/newsletter is our show notes. Please read this, or you can just check it out at the Examiner. It's up to you. Either way, it's just important to me you read it. No, we haven't defunded education for years, by Corey DeAngelis and Matthew Nielsen. Corey's done great work on education spending and education funding. Now, why does this matter now? You may say, Dan, I don't get it. You started the show with this fight's coming to our door. Then you talked obviously about race relations and CNN doing everything they can to inflame race relations. How does this fit in with that and what happened with Mr. Floyd and the racial divisions being propagated by division artists in this country these days? Because, folks, one of the arguments out there in the Twitter social media system being used to bully you and pressure you to support groups that say, what do we want? Dead cops. When do we want them now? The pressure campaigns, they're being fostered and advocated for by people who use talking points that are false. Oh, Trump was devastating for Black America and the economy. What do you mean? You mean the same Trump who the lowest level of Black unemployment in American history was under his administration? You mean that one? That doesn't comport with your reality, does it? Doesn't matter. Just lie to people. Well, the new talking point about education is this. Defund the police. Fund the schools. They've been underfunded, Joe. Underfunded. We haven't spent money on schools. We're funding. Really? So, because understand what's going on. And Joe, audience referee hat here. Please see where I'm going. I want you to see through and clear the fog. The left exists solely on propaganda and lies. Nothing they tell you is true. But they pressure people who are now going to go on Facebook. I support this or that group because I was told Donald Trump is targeting Black America. Not true. I support defunding the police, even though quietly I know it's dumb, because we need the money in schools. We're overfunding police and we're not funding our schools. It's all a lie. From Corey's piece. Here's screenshot 1. So we're underfunding schools? Really? Quote, on average, the United States currently spends over $15,000 per student each year. And inflation-adjusted K-12 education spending per student has increased by 280% since 1960, when education, ironically, was better. I added that last part. Quote, in California, where the previously mentioned football coach resides, it was a football coach who tweeted out, we're not funding enough in education. Inflation-adjusted spending on K-12 education in California has increased by 129% since 1970. Furthermore, data from the Census Bureau shows that nearly a third of all state budget expenditures go toward education. This fight's coming to your door. They're going to have their talking points. They're going to have their white papers, these leftists, and they are going to pressure you. But they are going to pressure you with lies. Trump has destroyed the Black American economy. No, the opposite is true. It's never been better than under Trump. We're defunding education in inner city communities and funding police officers to arrest people in a prison pipeline. That's completely false. Education spending in this country has exploded. Triple digit expansions in education expenditures. Now, don't worry, I've got all your bases covered. You may be saying, well, fair enough, Dan, we've spent more on education, but we're not spending enough because the results are not there. And obviously, according to the leftist narrative, more spending on education equals better results. No. That's a lie too. We can actually do the data analysis on that and show that, can't we? If your hypothesis, which is testable, science libs, you know how that works? Science, data, numbers, arithmetic, I'm talking to liberals. Of course you don't know how that works. To the sane people out there and the conservatives and the sane Democrats too. There are many who listen to my show. And thank you. who do math. Forget I get it. Facts and reason aren't your thing. There are things called hypotheses you can test. More education spending will lead to better results. Well, we can test results using academic testing, and we can obviously document via counting how much we're spending. We can correlate those two variables. Liberals, more spending, better results. Okay, so let's check that out. From Corey's piece, what does the data actually say? Quote, there is a particularly pernicious myth in the education debate. This is a particularly pernicious myth, debate in the debate, because increased education spending generally isn't associated with better results. Stanford University economist Eric Henyashek reviewed nearly 400 studies on the topic, 400, and concluded that there is not a strong or consistent relationship between student performance and school resources. This is only the show for you if you're interested in data, science, facts, and the real world. You want to succumb to bullying campaigns and pressure? Believe me, there's a fight about to start in this house. I'm not talking about between me and Paula, but there's a fight about to start in this house. I'm leaving the details out of respect for my family. That is going to get really nasty today. And it is based on nothing but lies. There's universal agreement, ladies and gentlemen. Real justice matters for everyone. Black men, black women, Hispanic men, Hispanic women, immigrants to this country, native-born citizens, Muslims, Jews, Christians, all of us. We live under one flag and one set of rules in this republic. The country has a scarred history with race. We should never run from that. We shouldn't hide our history. We shouldn't hide our scars. That matters. I can't say this to you enough. There are Americans alive today who suffered the indignity of having to sit at a counter in a restaurant that said colored on it. Had to drink from separate water fountains. That was a disgrace. But hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people fought that. Hundreds of thousands were killed or injured in a war to end the scars of slavery. It says a lot that the most disgusting label you can tar someone with in this country today, it's a career killer. It's a social network killer. You're done and finished. It says a lot that the most powerfully destructive label you can tar someone with is to be a racist. Think about that. That's why the left uses it. If you are one, you deserved it and the consequences that come with it. But if you're not, your life's about to be destroyed for something you did nothing wrong. Kneel before no one. You don't owe anyone a knee. You owe the Lord a knee. And ladies and gentlemen, you don't owe anyone an apology if you did nothing wrong. You owe them a legitimate fight for their big R God-given rights. We owe them that. We do. We need to stand for something too. But what's happening in this country right now in these pressure campaigns are a disgrace. And we're not going anywhere. You do whatever you want to this show. We are not going anywhere, and we are going to speak the truth no matter what. There's nothing you're going to do to intimidate us on this topic. I'm warning you right now. You picked the wrong fight.
You just heard The Dan Bongino Show. You can also get Dan's podcasts on iTunes or SoundCloud. And follow Dan on Twitter 24/7 @DBongino.